Someone is selling a lot of oil, guys, at a moment where the setup for oil is to go nowhere but higher. I mean, the geopolitical setup is absolutely insane. If you look at the history, any sort of political setup like we've got right now, oil always goes high. On top of that, today we're also getting some positive economic data. Of course, we know the numbers are totally fake, but hey, it's positive. It looks positive. PMI still under 50, so eight quarters in a row, still under 50, still technically in recession on the production index, but guess what? It's better than expected. So, if you look at the indexes, though, right, you wouldn't think that, oh, shit, there is a problem in the market, but that's exactly what oil is telling us. Why would somebody be dumping a lot of oil on the circumstances where historically oil goes higher? Especially on a day we got some positive economic data that should normally spell for a move higher in oil. So someone is dumping a lot of oil. And when you look at the chart, you can't really see that a ton of oil is being dumped. But what I'm saying is normally you would have on a day like today, oil shooting up maybe $3-4 higher, which would translate into a really decent sized percentage move higher. But instead, we're like slightly negative of oil. So you've got major forces fighting together. I mean, there has to be someone dumping a lot of oil to suppress what normally would be a huge move to the upside in oil. So if we just rewind the last couple of days of geopolitical tensions, if you paid close attention to some of the recent podcasts we have recorded, particularly we have highlighted our prognosis of what really the ceasefire in Middle East, which was implemented last week, what that really spells out. And we specifically pointed out that if United States is pausing a war in one place, it is doing so only to free up resources to conduct another war someplace else. So 3 days after, well, we already know where the war is. So United States sabotaging peaceful conditions in Syria, which now has been peaceful for like last 8-9 years. Historically, United States have trained the shit out of these terrorist groups there. Well, on the conditions, of course, if you study history, the United States went in there on the pretense that they're there to eradicate ISIS. Instead, they trained a bunch of these ISIS motherfuckers. And, of course, the main goal for the United States to go into Syria was for their oil. And it is still so. I mean, majority of the troops have been withdrawn from Syria. But guess what? There is a number of United States troops that were left behind illegally for no other reason than to extract Syrian oil absolutely at no cost. Literally, imagine somebody would show up to the United States and say, hey fuckers, we're gonna station our troops over here where you have where you guys are pumping oil, and we're just gonna take as much of it as fucking possible. Okay? I have something. If somebody did that to the United States, oh shit, that shit wouldn't last, right? Oh, but it's okay for the United States to do this crap in the middle of fucking daylight. They've been stealing Syrian oil for fucking years. Station the fucking troops, okay, on foreign soil without any fucking consequences. And now trying to steer up peaceful conditions, okay? Israel and the United States, that's the culprit. It keeps fucking happening, and the United States keeps getting away with this shit. Well, at one point, okay, it would be very dangerous, okay, to remain in the United States, because at one point that shit is gonna blow up. The rest of the world is not going to keep taking shit from United States. And that calls for a whole nother audio, guys. But under such conditions, war escalating in Syria, which basically, who's going to protect Syria? Well, China, Russia, Iran. So you got the big three against United States troops over there. I mean, that's not going to lead to anything. That's not going to lead to any sort of de-escalation of the Middle East situation. So the so-called ceasefire that everyone was so excited about, and that was one of the reasons why gold has sold off. Well, the ceasefire, number one, has already been broken. And now apparently, with the way things are looking in Syria, I mean, this is becoming a much grander conflict. So this situation has just got 100 times worse, but yet oil cannot go higher under such conditions. And so, to me, I mean, it's pretty clear there is someone that is selling a shitload of oil knows that make them believe oil prices will drop. Now, it is obvious, we've covered that in the last couple of podcasts, that the economies worldwide are collapsing. We got data from South Korea, recession, Australia, recession, Turkey, recession. We got anywhere in the world, I mean, not even mentioning the dog shit Europe. That shit is recession. You got, guys, anywhere you look at, I mean, China is a given, right? The whole world is in recession. The question is, okay, well, how bad is it? And why has the market not responded yet? And what could be this black swan event, which we're definitely going to find out about what the black swan is going to be. I mean, the World War III is not a black swan. We've already established that. Okay, but the point is, we're looking at current market conditions under which oil, gold, they do exceptionally well. But yet instead, we're getting some real weakness, particularly in oil. And we're getting some weakness, at least temporarily, in gold. I mean, it is pretty easy assumption that gold will break out above 3,000 in not so distant future. But the weakness in oil tells us that there's some major issues on the demand side. There are major issues, and how big could these issues be if, in face of all these geopolitical conflicts and bullish catalysts for oil, it can't catch a bid here? And someone is using these geopolitical tensions to unload a shitload of oil under conditions which seem to be favorable for oil. It fails to move higher even a little bit. And now oil is trading at some very critical levels. Very critical levels. If they are broken, I think the whole world, the whole financial world will notice. I believe the market would definitely notice that despite of all the indexes, or majority of the indexes today, we're getting another rotation from small caps to the big tech names again. And it seems like every other day this rotation is like the market can't make up its mind. Oh, is the Russell 2000 the best trade, or is the big tech the best trade? And every day it's the same rotation, right? On days when you have Russell 2000 down, you have big tech stocks up, or the other way around. So arguably, we're seeing a clear top for all four indexes. I'm talking about Russell 2000, NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow Jones. But with a little bit of a rotation that we're seeing every day, I don't think it is apparent yet to the majority of the market participants that despite of these Weak at this point, we're looking at very weak moves to the upside on volume that practically does not exist, while oil is basically screaming at us in the last few trading sessions saying, hey, there is a big fucking problem for the markets. So watch out for these key levels in oil. I mentioned in the prior couple of podcasts, if oil breaks 64, all hell will break loose. And at this point, the conversation is going to shift not from, how much Trump is going to tariff the fuck out of the rest of the world, but how much Trump is going to save this situation of a collapsing market, which at that point the market would be collapsing if oil was to break that level. So the rhetoric could shift at any given moment from highly bullish to highly bearish. Be ready for it. Okay, there's some easy trades associated with it that are very bearish on the put side. However, don't miss the next podcast about one trade that is highly, highly bullish, which we actually bought some calls on earlier this morning at 9:30 at the open. So there's crazy potential in some of these puts to go 50x, 100x in some of these trades. There's crazy potential in this one trade on the call side to go 50x, 80x possibly. So if you want to know specifically the strikes, expirations, how to trade it, more importantly, how to have the stamina to hold these trades and not jump out of them, so you can reap the benefit of the entire 50x move instead of just cashing out when the trade doubles. If you really want to do that, then you get in touch with 13 Market Moves Coach by going to 13mmtv.com and scheduling a call, or going to 13marketmoves.com. I'll catch you guys next podcast. Don't miss it. We're actually buying calls on something. We do this rarely under current market conditions, but it's a crazy little wild trade based off some crazy wild shit that's happening now. Let's roll.